There can be only one podcast, and may it be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks. I'm Matt.
And I'm Wes.
It's time to talk about Superman.
Superman?
Superman. Super. He's so super.
Is that coming back from Thrifty Nickel?
I'm telling you what. Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe I need to see a speech pathologist.
What a good story on the last podcast about you being a jerk.
I'm glad you.
Because you are such a nice guy. Like, I think that if I had to speak at your celebration of life, I would probably say you are the nicest human I've ever met.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, you're very, you're like an old 60s comedy dad, like Ward Cleaver or something. But when I've seen you in a few situations where you lose your temper, and it does get me excited, and then when I hear you talk about being a jerk, it also gets me excited. Yeah. So thanks for adding that.
Glad you like that. I'll try to.
I'm glad to know you're human.
Have it. Yes, indubitably so. We're going to talk about the new Superman movie. Superman, is it just called Superman? It's not called Superman Triumphant or whatever?
It's just another Superman
movie. It's just
movie.
That's what they should have called it. Another Superman is what they should have called it.
We're going to try to get it right.
Expectations before watching this, for me, we'll get to you next, but for me, I'm not a big Superman fan, so I wasn't excited either way. I knew I'd eventually see it. I do enjoy James Gunn's superhero movies. I think the last DC one he did was Suicide Squad, which was very enjoyable. And he's done the Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel, which I've enjoyed them all. So he has a good track record on that. So good for him for taking on Superman. Not that I'm not that interested, but neither was interested in Guardians of the Galaxy when it came out. So, or Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Wasn't interested in those properties and ended up loving them. This is the kickoff to a new, once again, rebooted era of DC because they just can't put anything together. That's basic. When I saw the trailer, because I did watch the trailer, I did enjoy the classic John Williams score, but I also have to question myself: why wouldn't you score? What other theme song? That is Superman's theme song.
Well,
why would you try to redo that?
Okay, let me go to my expectations, and I'm going to answer your question.
No, go ahead.
So, wasn't there a Superman movie called The Quest for Peace or something like that?
Yes, there was.
Okay. Well, I would call my watching Superman a quest for hope this doesn't suck. Because it's challenging for anyone to pick up a valuable property and do something with it. I get how challenging that can be, because you're trying to do something with when everybody else has got their other memories wrapped up in this.
Right.
So it's a quest for hope that this is good.
Okay.
So I would think you would be, and that's probably why we get so frustrated with Star Wars, is I don't know how much they play upon what they've already established. They almost want to go against it. And it seems like you would be foolish not to use John Williams' Superman music because it's comforting. If you're at least the age of, I don't know, 20, I would assume if you like comics and comic movies, you've seen at least the first two of those.
Oh, absolutely. I would say
minimum.
I would hope you've had. Yeah.
And it's classic. So it pulls you in. You go, oh, okay, this is comforting. It's going to make me feel the way I want to feel. Yeah.
So those are anticipations. Now, John Williams' score, is that what you're going to answer to?
Yeah, I was saying, like, yeah, I like I said, I think that they were smart to use that in the trailer, and it played well, and it made you feel like it was comforting.
Yeah,
it made you go, okay, it's setting off those endorphins. I
thought
remember
you were going to say
this.
it wasn't necessary. I thought you were going to do a counterpoint, but that's
no, it was.
Right, sorry
they would be foolish not to do that.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think that, I mean, everyone was like, oh, it's like, when it came, oh, that John Williams, yeah, but why wouldn't you do that? Just like, it'd be stupid to try to say, oh, let's get Danny Elfman to redo the Supermans, give a new take on. No,
Yeah,
it's classic.
If sometimes you don't have to change something just for change's sake. If it's working, just work around that too.
So this movie opens up without the origin story. Yes, they tack it on in the beginning, which is fine. It starts off by for some reason the threes, which I don't understand. But 30 years ago, he crash landed on Earth. 3 years ago, he introduced himself as Superman. 3 weeks ago, he resolved a crisis overseas. 3 hours ago, he fought Ultraman or whatever.
Maybe they want you to watch this 3 times.
3 minutes ago, he just lost his first ever conflict. All right, so I don't get what the threes were about. But I guess we're just going backwards in time just to kind of get you caught up. My wife, instantly confused at who this Ultraman was. Why is he bleeding? What is going on? I was like, well, they're just they're plopping you in the middle of the story, which I did not mind at all. I thought it was refreshing not to have another baby shooting out from Krypton. Not that I've hated that before, but we don't need any more origin stories. Let me introduce Superman for the first time to the world stories.
You don't need an origin story anymore. I really don't think you do.
People should understand, how Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman got their power. I think we're pretty safe on that.
If you have a good enough relationship with your wife or your girlfriend or significant other to pull them into this nonsense, you should be able to tell the origin story pretty quickly and effectively and get to the movie. If they want to know that, set them up while y'all are driving to the theater.
Absolutely. But the thing is, though, for me, that was a good start. We got to see
I was good with the beginning.
Yeah, we got to see the Fortress of Solitude, the robots that have been rumored in all sorts of crazy. Kevin Smith mentioned the robots at the Fortress of Solitude. Seems like they've always wanted a big battle at the Fortress of Solitude for years, and the production has plenty of movies went through production hell. I think Superman Lives or whatever by Tim Burton also had something equivalent to having Superman's robots and everything because everyone was big on that. That's fine. They put Krypto in this. Now it's like James Cameron to put the oddball character. He loves that. That's why he's so good, I think, with Guardians of the Galaxy and oh my goodness, I almost said Teen Titans, Suicide Squad, because they're a bunch of odd, no name. Who cares about Polka Dot Man?
No one's too vested to go, oh, this wasn't happening. They would just go, oh, okay.
So James Gunn, he's the only one that would want to put Krypto in a movie. I can't imagine the studio saying we need a dog with a cape. But James Gunn's like, no, I like the quirky. Let's put him in. And yes, that plays out great. Everyone loves Krypto. You automatically cheer for him. It's a little doggy with a Superman cape, and they had fun with it.
Better than Ewoks. Better than Ewoks.
Not for me.
Okay.
But regardless, no problem with Super Dog. Now, being a dog person, I can't imagine you had a problem with Krypto.
No, yeah, I think that was a good way to, once again, soften your senses. Mm-hmm. You see a dog, you're like, oh, okay. I'm down with this.
For the person who played Superman, good pick as well.
Yep.
I thought he did a fine pick. Looked the part, played the part very well. It's going to be controversial. Not a Henry Cavill fan. A lot of people loved him. Yes, he had the physique. Yes, he had the look. But there was no difference between his Clark Kent and Superman.
Yeah, and you've said that a bunch. And I don't know if there was a way for him to win because he was so assuming. He was not unassuming at all.
No, not at all.
When Henry Cavill walks into a room, I'm sure everybody notices.
You notice. That's right.
He is not a meek. He does not come across in anything I've ever watched.
Of that Clark Kent humble pie.
No. He's got a slice of a lot of pie, but it ain't humble pie. So, I mean, that's just that's not a knock. It's just I think he was miscast.
That's an odd thing to say, but I agree with you. But like I said, in look and physique, yeah.
Unless you're going to get away from Clark Kent and he's just Superman, then maybe.
Maybe. But even then, this one, a little bit more impressed with. Lois, probably one of my favorite Loises. I've seen. Of course, I'm a Margaret Kidder fan.
Yeah.
But
I like Lois.
But the other Loises that I've seen over the years in TV and film have not really done it. I was like, no, I can't see where Superman would fall in love with this person. I can't see where there's a natural attraction, the chemistry. In my opinion, for the past few whatever movies and reboots they've had, even TV shows, there just hasn't been that connection for me.
Yeah.
Than there has with this one. So good job with Lois.
Agree.
Yeah, okay.
Totally agree.
What
I'm good with the casting for sure.
Yeah, good with the casting. Don't think anyone else is miscast. The Lex Luthor, everyone's screaming that it's the best Lex Luthor ever. I probably know of 2 Lex Luthors who are better, but yes, he is in top tier. He's no terrible Justice League what was Eisenberg or whatever? Or,
Jesse Eisenberg.
oh my goodness, that was the worst.
But I think that all those actors that participated in the previous DCU, they all speak pretty like it was a terrible situation. So I think that they were trying
the best they could with what they had.
Yeah, I think that they were working with one hand tied behind their back and a lot of different. I heard a quote from Chris Claremont, who was huge in X-Men. It really rebooted that in the 70s. He said, when you're working with licensed characters, you're always working with someone over your shoulder because someone is always saying, oh, we're not going to do that, or we're not going to do that.
Everyone's got to have their finger in the pot and to change
And my
things up.
God,
Yeah.
that is, I feel for anybody that works in that kind, that's micromanaging at any job. And I'm sure that was pretty exhausting.
Yeah, possibly so. But like I said, I'm trying to rank these cast
I gotcha.
here.
Well, I'm going to say they're going to stand alone. I'm going to go stand alone.
No, and that's
I'm your
fair
counterpart.
too, because it is unfair to bounce them up against. Obviously, I'm a big Christopher Reeves fan, so that's the one I'm going to pick first. That's the one I'm going to pick first of everything.
Yep.
But to be honest, as going in comparisons with all the other reboots, with all the TV series, that Superman would be in the upper edge of Superman I've seen, and the Lex Luthor's definitely third best, respectfully third best, I think. I'm just saying, I'm being honest. I didn't really like Smallville, the show, but that Lex Luthor is just phenomenal. I can't remember his name right now.
He's got his own
Voice of
podcast,
the Flash.
too.
He's got his own podcast. Talkville. He's talking about each episode of with
And he does not speak
Superman.
very highly of his time with that either.
No, he's not. And I didn't know. Now I know why he left the show, and I understand why. And it's sad because he was really the only thing keeping me in. Well, he and Jonathan Kent, which was kind of Clark's anchor, and was just a really good character. And the reason to kill off Jonathan Kent, where Martha Kent could have died, it could have switched it up. Because usually it's always Jonathan Kent that dies in the comic books and stuff, and stories and movies and stuff. But if they switch up, Martha Kent had nothing else to do, and you could tell that from the series.
Yeah.
So why not just kill Martha? It still would have been impactful, right? Someone would have died. But you would have kept the anchor of the show. And then Lex Luthor, to his own accord, was just, he was getting terrible scripts, terrible story arcs, and he said, I got to get out of here. And when he did, the show just went, in my opinion, downhill. But either way, though, this Lex was fine. This Lex is fine. So the whole casting is good. Other things, the Ultraman. By the way, all spoilers here.
I think we're coming into this last person at the party for sure.
Yeah,
if
for
you
sure,
hadn't seen it, you didn't
yeah.
want to watch it.
But Ultraman or whatever it was, being the Superman clone, I was kind of hoping it was more of a Bizarro-like character.
Yep.
Or what I thought, just based on the little goggles and the old thing, I said, is that eventually going to turn to Doomsday? Do we find out it's Kryptonian, but when it gets hit with whatever gamma ray, does he bust out and become a Doomsday? Because he had the old classic, kind of a little bit of the classic with the goggles, you know what I'm saying, eyes and whatever. Kind of had that classic comic book intro from when we first saw Doomsday. So I kind of wonder if that was him. Found it to be a clone. That's fine. That Lex can control, I guess. I'm not really sure if that's the big baddie, if Lex Luthor's the big baddie, because, again, we're coming in the middle of the story, which I don't mind at all. Humorous moments.
One of the best parts of the movie is it comes in and the story's going. I'm so over the setup.
Yeah, no. I loved when he hit the concrete buried in there, and then all the citizens kind of go around him, giving him a pep talk, asking if he needs help getting out of the crater. I love that because they're used to him. He's been there for 3 years. They
Yeah.
love him. They know, as everyone should.
Sure.
Love Superman and everything. But I like that little interaction with the crowd midway through the battle. Not everyone has to be running in panic because they trust, because Superman's never lost, so they know Superman's going to win.
Right.
So it's almost like a little bit lackadaisical in a way. And
Like, get your head in the game.
yeah, like, hey, Superman, you okay? Hey, you need some help with the crater? Hey, who is that guy? So they're not really that scared, which maybe they should be, but at the same time, they built that trust in.
Well, I think that
Now-
shows if there was in reality this, and you've got that watching over you. Well, what are you? You are pretty carefree about things.
Yeah, no, that's true. And we do have some guest stars, of course, some other characters they introduce. Mr. Terrific, who gets the most screen time, kind of surprised. Not really that big of a character, but in the comic books, does he team up with Superman that much? Because I know Batman has teamed up with him.
I can't
several
speak to
times.
that. I don't.
Okay. We're not.
My DCologist
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
not as strong with that.
But the last time I was keeping up with it, maybe 10 years ago, it seemed like Mr. Terrific and Batman had more team up. Either way, though, that's fine. Mr. Terrific, fine, I guess. Again, another odd character that James Gunn wanted. He wanted Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, which I love. I love that. I wish they'd kind of given him the green vest and whatnot.
yeah,
More of a classic look, because it is. James Gunn's not afraid to put people in costume, especially when you have Superman in costume. So
well, that helps, man. Like it helps to give you something that feels like a comic book.
oh yes, absolutely. Well, you look at Christopher Nolan, who I think really hurt comic book movies by saying, I want to try to ground everything more reality based and everything. And even though I did like,
I love that you don't like those Batman movies.
well, the first two were okay, and this third one was just junk. But he just tried. He didn't like the superhero aspect of it. He tried to rip that away, which I want the more comic booky feel. And we've talked about this because Batman Returns,
Right.
which you love, you think
Sure.
is superior in the second one.
Right.
I love it too. But one of the reasons I love it, I love penguins strapped with missiles on their back.
Yes.
I love him coming out of the sewer on a rubber ducky that's old and disgusting. I'm stupid. No, it feels like the comic book. And when you design a world that this crazy, there's a guy walking around in a bat suit. Not really that crazy. That guy's coming out with a rubber ducky. We're in that world.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that at all. The penguins giving him giving him his funeral procession at the end. Great scene. Great scene. Great stuff. But does it look a little hokey? Yeah, but I'm believing that a guy's dressing up in a bat with bat themed costumes and vehicles and stuff. So no. When I equivalent,
I think if you're going to cast a Green Lantern, you need to do Guy Gardner.
yeah, a Guy Gardner
Get
is a good
some.
choice.
We don't need an overly heroic.
I agree.
Like, this
I
is a
agree.
guy that got Batman hit.
I
So
agree. And-
let's
and-
get
and-
something going.
And to check the diversity box, we had Hawk Girl in there who just screams the whole time. But, okay, that's fine. I wish they would have given her a little bit more, but it seemed like she just wanted to give her Hawk scream most of the time. She was the one that had the least amount to do out of all. Well, who was Metamorphosis? What was his name? Metamorpho, which he had a good storyline too.
Yeah.
It seemed like everyone had something to do, but Hawk Girl was just to soar in and club you and fight you and scream. So that was the one thing I wish they would have probably done more for. Besides her being in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, I know really nothing of her.
I think maybe they had to put her in.
Well, obviously we're checking the diversity box there. I agree, but you gave everyone else, and Mr. Terrific gets a character. He gets a backstory. Guy Gardner is good fodder. Of course, he's what.
Well, sadly, maybe it just falls into the if we're not going to give this person a lot to go with, we're going to make them very attractive.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think that's where she fell into.
But all the guests, and then we have Supergirl at the end.
We'll see.
I know we're trying to. I'm not really impressed.
We'll see.
I'm not really impressed. In fact, one little thing I was like, is Supergirl being very flippant towards Superman. I get that they're cousins. They've been around. It was a hit for laughs.
Yep.
But I was more like, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's not, because Clark Kent gets pushed around. It's funny when it's Clark Kent. when Superman's being pushed around by a little Supergirl, bye bitch and stuff like that. I know you're doing it for laughs, but no, that would be like he took that like Clark.
Well,
he acted more like Clark
I
Kent.
think James Gunn did something different than most people would with Superman. Is he showed Superman is so you can deal with him. He's not like this.
He's an everyday person. Yeah.
So I think that was a total different way. He grounded him in a. He may be Superman, but he is still beatable.
Yeah. No. I mean, definitely he showed a little bit more personality. Superman isn't an alien who is by himself on this weird planet Earth and doesn't know anything, which is so easy to do these days. You could do that.
And I think that's kind of the only thing that I liked out of the Zack Snyder was that idea of his childhood and how outcast he was. But at the same point, get with it too.
Yeah,
Jeez.
get over yourself. It's been 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, golly, man. That was just such a screw up. Anyway.
I agree. Probably the one thing, because I'm going to complain about it, but the one thing I really just did not like, and I thought it just was so fake, took me out of the movie, was the news announcement that comes out and says, oh, guess what? Superman was sent here to rule over us, to conquer us, to have concubines, to do all this other stuff.
Fake news.
Fake news. In this day and age, there's absolutely, and especially 3 years, he hasn't been doing that. And we've even shown that what people think about him. Because the over the crate, whether, hey, you need a hand, you need help? Obviously, everyone loves him, trusts him. He's established this relationship for 3 years. But because one news clip comes up, and then remember, the next scene is the mom grabbing her child away from Superman, who may, I don't know, breed with her right then and there. What was she thinking? And then everyone's like throwing trash at him later. Like, all of a sudden they've turned because the news told us that you're evil now. Even though for the past 3 years and currently, have we never seen any of the thing. And we've never seen the message from your parents before. We don't even know if those are your parents. Because the news media told us. I was like, that is so forced.
Okay. I'll play devil's advocate.
Go.
You are a pretty intelligent guy, level-headed. If you smell shit, you don't go step in it and find where it's at, unless it's your kids.
Yeah.
Most human beings do the opposite.
Most.
So I think that's why it's there.
But you've been established for 3 years, and they've established that these humans
I think it shows how we are as a society where if you give us a news bite, we can change our opinion so quickly without a lot of facts.
True.
I think it's more a reflection of society than anything.
Maybe so. But then, of course, thank goodness the news clip came out that now he's good and Lex Luthor was bad, or else we wouldn't have had a movie ending.
Seems
too lazy and simple a plot line to thrust into us. Why not Superman failing and everyone being mad at him for not, for kind of retreating for a little while because he's got to regroup. Meanwhile, Ultraman is still just dominating the, Metropolis and the world and causing more chaos than anything. Then people would be like, wow, Superman left us. He's not around anymore. That would probably. Or the situation with the made-up third world country because we don't want to ruin the box office domestically. That maybe more harp on that. Have more talking head ones.
Well, we're so close to the subjects. I think that's hard for us to pull away from. I don't have the view of that you do.
No, I mean that's fine. I'm just saying that I just felt like that was just too contrived. It didn't make sense. Other than that, overall, it was fun. It was a fun movie. It's not a bad movie at all. It's better than a lot of the 2-3 previous, whatever the DCEU came out with, and that Superman Returns definitely beats all those.
The hardest part for me is these movies take so long to come out, and the special effects still look like lower level special effects.
They all look like like video game. Like you're playing a video game.
They don't. I think if it's going to look that fake, then just pull back on it.
Have you seen Godzilla -1?
No, but I've heard you've talked about how good it is.
Honestly, watch that. They made that with like $10 million,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks fantastic. So obviously the technology's out there to make it look. I mean, like I could truly believe.
I don't need a
that was
3-minute
Godzilla in
fight
water.
scene.
Yeah.
I mean, a real fight, anybody that's been in a fight, it's not a pro wrestling match. It's not going to go very long.
But I thought after that movie had come out, I thought people were going to go, "Whoa, what's this? How did they do that? You know, let's work with this studio. Let's work with this studio to try to get our special effects like that." And then nothing. That came out years ago, and everyone's just, no, we're going to do it with the same schlock. Because after a while, you can see it just looks, off.
Yeah, it looks like
And what
Photoshop.
Yeah, and what may have impressed us 15 years ago is not going to be the same thing impressing us now.
Well, I think that's it. I think it looks like special effects that have aged very poorly.
They've aged. We've seen them. I mean, where is that? I mean, we thankfully, like the people before us, our generation before us, they got to see that whoa moment when they saw Star Wars, 1977.
Yeah.
They'd never seen anything like that with special effects. We got that in 93 with Jurassic Park.
Correct.
Where I was like, how did they do that?
Right.
What'd they do? There hasn't been one, and there was that was almost exactly 15 years in between those two movies.
Yep.
15. So we're due for the jump. We're overdue, actually. Way overdue for a jump and something to really wow us. And there could
Well, I think there are things. I think that the way they shoot Spider-Man is very well done.
That is true.
On his own, but these battles, that's where it gets too
Well, the
convoluted.
battles, that's where it gets too terrible. And I've seen better CGI in other movies than other. Black Adam, I thought was a terrible movie, but the CGI was actually pretty good.
I think that here's my wrestling logic for this. Back in the day, you didn't have cameras, tight HD, everything shot for TV. Like, you just went and saw wrestling. So you had to be a little more exaggerated with things. Mm-hmm. So now if there's a tight shot and it's a bad shot, normally there's another camera to get off of it. And I feel like there's a lot of bad shots in comic movies for fights. Like, it's too tight, you see too much, and by seeing too much, you see how fake it is.
It becomes a mess. It just becomes it's all quick action, this, that, destruction. What happened? What's going on?
Shoot a different point of view than giving me the whole shot. Like, give me something different.
Something I can follow along with, not quick punch, quick action.
It's
smash
like,
into the.
boy.
How many times have we seen the zoom smash into a building, smash into a rock wall or something?
Yeah.
We see the destruction that turn, but it's everything quick edits, quick takes, and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree with that. Overall thoughts on the Superman though?
I think it was a good first effort. I just, it didn't make me want to see what's next. I was like, okay, that was a good Superman movie, but where do you go from here? That's the problem. If they would have shot a Hawkman movie or a Green Lantern movie, and you go, dang, that was good, better than I expected. Ooh, I can't wait to see what they do with Superman. Like, where do you go now?
Right.
To me, if maybe the golden or silver lining of this is they've already did the biggest property. Now he can really ease into everything. Like, he's got that. Let's get that out of the way, and let me dig into this. Let me find my next Drax. Let me find my next supporting character that's going to resonate with people. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, that could be the direction they go in. But anyway, all right, folks. Let us know in the comments below, what did you think about the newest, latest, greatest Superman? And we'll see you next time on Princes of the Universe.